Want to sit there and look at me?
I thought you would do the intro, but I guess I'm going to do the intro today.
Hey, everybody. How y'all doing? Welcome to H8te Our Love podcast. A podcast that talks about everything in the world, but mainly relationships, finances, stuff of that. I'm Jay.
I'm Nay.
You ain't going to pick it up and keep going. I thought she was going to
Oh,
pick it up.
so sickening. I normally like to find a quote of the day to get the conversation rolling. Sometimes it might be a music lyric, sometimes it might be something spiritual. You just never know what I'm going to do. So today's quote of the day is sometimes your heart needs more time to accept what your mind already knows. And the author of that is unknown. So that kind of leads into today's
It's
topic
a
of this.
hard quote. Like, that quote is hard. You know how hard that quote is?
But if you listen to the topic of discussion, you'll understand why I chose that quote for tonight.
Wow. That's hard. All right. I feel like
Tonight's,
you're trying to tell me something.
oh my goodness. Can you get through infidelity in a marriage/slash relationship? And then from there, I think we'll have a multitude of questions and follow ups behind that. So I absolutely
I feel
believe
short in this chair. Can I just like interrupt? Like that's why I keep like trying to like lift it because I'm not short. Like for some reason, I just feel like a short person.
after I normally clean the chairs, I fluff them up and do all that, but I haven't done that. So you're probably sinking in a little bit.
Yeah, but these is good. Like it's
Boy,
expensive
stay on
couches
topic, please. Sorry,
because
y'all.
like we look like we the same height from like our the way like how we're sitting
I
and
mean,
we're
my legs are completely balled up. I'm laid down.
yeah, but you should never look like look like the
Oh
same height
goodness,
as me. That
can we
makes
have our
no
discussion?
sense. You're like a foot at least shorter than me.
Yes, I'm 5'1".
You're a foot shorter than me.
Yes,
All right, this is crazy.
I guess you needed
All
to
right.
make it known.
Yeah, I need to make it known that I'm not sure. All right.
All right, can we get back on
Yes.
task? Thank you. So the question is, let's get this started again. Can you get through infidelity in a marriage/slash relationship? Um, I always like to answer, or when we talk about certain things, just make it known that obviously every relationship is different. What people go through is different, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But my overall answer to that would be yes. I feel like you can. I feel like there's most times a root issue that isn't answered. I feel like there's a huge probably lack of communication, whether it be on both parties or just one party, or there is a lot of communication from one person and the other person isn't receiving or taking in what that person is saying and actually making the change for the better in their relationship. How do you feel about that? Because I feel like my next statement would have probably took us into the next topic. So I'll stop myself because I don't want to keep going.
So yeah, I feel like you can get past infidelity in a relationship. You do know like our so we're different like in our views sometimes about how we feel about certain things. But most things like the most thing you hear men say is that like once she cheat, I'm gone, I'm gone, I'm gone, right? But when I was like, I probably had to be like maybe like 19, I want to say, and I was outside of a bar, and I had this conversation with like a good friend. Like his name's Biggs. Like that's what we called him, Biggs, right? So we had this good conversation, and he said, "Just like you got a pretty girl. Like when you out here playing around," he said, "don't leave your woman because she goes out there and she does the same thing you did." She said, "Now if she fall in love, that's something different. Like that's She said, but don't leave your girl because she go out there and like get some dick. Like because obviously at some point it may happen. So therefore, like you got to be accepting of that. Now, you don't let it go. It's not something that you just like brush off and like, all right, you did it. It's cool. Like, there's some other things that me and him discussed as men, but that's a man thing, and we're gonna save that for the man episode that I'm gonna do. But for right now, I mean, that's pretty much what he said. But a lot of men have a thing of getting over their spousal infidelity and stuff like that, and I think it is because people say there's a difference. Men and women are different for the most part, and we do know it's a new generation of people, but men and women are different for the most part on how they feel about like sex and intimacy and stuff like that. So like the thing is that when men cheat, they just doing it just to do it most times. Whereas when women cheat, it's really like some love and emotion there. That's the reason why they cheat. So it's like something, not even love, but there's some type of like or feeling inside other than just wanting to get your shit off. Now I did say there is a new age woman,
Yes.
but for the most part,
No, I'm agreeing with you, and I'm agreeing in the new age woman portion as well that some women honestly just want to have fun with no strings attached, no emotion attached. Um, I couldn't do it. That's just that's just me. But I know people who do. Like, it was fun. Or
what's their names?
we're not doing that.
What's their
We
names?
are
Let
not
me hear
doing
who it
that.
is.
We are not doing that.
Oh, you're not gonna tell?
Not at all.
So this is my thing is this though, right? So if there's a thing of some women want to have fun and then some men want to, I guess, have fun, why is it that men get beat down for their fun? Like, I think it's a double standard. Like, well, women get beat down too. Let me not say that, but men get beat down in a sense of like they like if a man cheats, he messed up his house, he did this, he did that. Whereas when a woman cheats, oh, she was lacking something, she wasn't getting what she needed from him, et cetera, et cetera.
So I think it's two separate things, though. I think when you're in a relationship for a woman, it's typically because of those things,
Because she was lacking something.
not because she just wanted to be out there. I think that's more of a single woman's trait of, or a person who's not in a committed relationship and have several different friends at that moment. I think once they're in that relationship, women tend to take the relationship more serious. Not more serious, let me change my wording, but I think it's more what we talked about the new age woman. I think that's more of when you're not in a relationship versus a man. When they're in the relationship, they still want to go and play and move and shake some,
But
like a lot of times how they want to.
I disagree. I would say that a lot of men lack something, and it's hard for them to find out what they're lacking, or it's hard for them to pinpoint what they're lacking. Or I would say that it's hard for men to express what they're lacking for fear of judgment, rejection, just a whole fucking hurricane of feelings that's gonna come when you finally open up and tell your spouse, I enjoy this. This is what I like. Boom. How do we accomplish that?
I think it's a maturity level. I mean, am I okay to use us for this discussion?
You can use whatever you want. I mean, we real life context. We've been together for a long time, so go ahead. Let's see what you got.
I'm just saying, like,
I might play devil's advocate.
no, I mean, this was pretty general. I'm just saying, not that many years ago, our communication is nowhere near what our communication is today.
I would agree.
I think along the way of life, along the way of having children, along the way of me watching those before me, what they considered, it was traditional to do this, traditional to do that, this is how you're supposed to be. You're not supposed to do that stuff. That's disgusting. You should never do that. So those are the things while I'm maturing as a woman that I'm taking in as well to become who I am. But I think once you reach a certain level in your relationship and a maturity within yourself, you take those things, but then you also work within your home to come up with works for you guys, if that makes sense. I absolutely myself think, we've grown from me changing and me having a more open mind. It just helped our relationship out a lot, I think. And I think communication is like really, really a big thing. Um,
I agree. But I think that um, like when we looked at the study, like the statistic was that women do cheat more than men, right? So it's like men get the backlash, women do it more secretly. But in the same aspect, why aren't women communicating what they want from their spouse? Is it the same reason?
um, I think it's the fear of judgment. I also believe that it could be not even just the fear of judgment. I think sometimes it could be the fear of how your spouse's ego will react, will affect the reaction of what it is.
Hmm.
Um, does that make sense? Like it's in my head, but I don't know if it's coming out that way.
Um,
But so, like, if I
it makes
and
sense.
this is
So
just
it's
a broad, it just came to my mind. But say I want to bring somebody home,
right.
you should be open to tell me that. But sometimes a man's ego might not, or too prideful to even be able to accept something like that coming from. I'm not. I just used it as an example. I did not say this was our
No, I
home.
was getting ready to say I think a woman's ego is the same thing. So I think it's a lot of ego that come into play when it's really like relationships based. And that's the thing, like everybody trying to live these traditional relationships based off traditional standards that when you look at it statistically, like I think it was like over 50% of marriages in the United States or like European based companies. I'm thinking business. Um, European based states,
Wrong combo right now,
yeah,
honey.
European based states, they really over 51% don't make it. It ends in divorce. So with people looking at a traditional lifestyle, if traditional does not work, then I think people need to reel it in and really look at what can work. You know what I mean? Like explore what can work in the realm of comfortability for the both of you, but also understanding that just because you feel uncomfortable or your mind feels a certain way about something doesn't necessarily mean that that thing is like a bad thing or like or it's not chill. It's different. You see what I'm saying? So like that's how I kind of like think about that. But I think everybody should open up and tell their spouses what they want.
Very oddly, I agree with you 100%.
What? Get the fuck out of here.
I do. I think you're absolutely right. I literally,
So now, going on with this, and then we're gonna jump into the next thing you could say, I guess.
well,
If you tell your spouse what you want and they're not receptive, then what do you do? Like men want to know, women want to know. If I go to my spouse and tell them like this is what I want and they're not receptive, what do you do?
I think that's something that you have to decide yourself whether this is something that you definitely need within your relationship. And if it's a need, obviously it has to happen for you. And it's something that the other person is not willing to open up to, try, discuss, or whatever the topic may be. You may have to decide whether if this is a need and they can deliver or they can't be open or try, do we need to end the relationship? Because then that probably possibly is the next topic of discussion. Or before getting that far, I would say discuss what the issue is with them trying it, because that may open up something that you guys can work through together prior to leaving the situation, if that makes sense.
I
It
agree.
may be something that y'all can talk through. There may be something where you guys come to a median, or meet each other halfway versus 100% giving whatever it is that you are, because that may satisfy you.
I actually agree with that, but I think what's going to happen is that instead of a person making a decision, which it seems simpler, like make the decision to leave. Everybody say, just walk away, just leave, just walk away. Instead of the person making a decision to leave, I think they will much rather, and it's much easier for most people to make the decision to cheat rather than leave somebody they love. And
Absolutely.
I think that's where cheating kind of comes into
Yeah.
play with.
So then, to kind of keep this same topic but into another question, how do you get through the infidelity if it's happened in a relationship? So,
Sorry, our son. I had to.
no, 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 you're perfectly fine. I think that's a long, I mean, not a long list, but I think there's different things for different people. Counseling could be an option, where you have a safe space and where you guys can both communicate and have that professional guide you and assist you to get through, with whatever happened, and to hopefully help reconcile or reconciliate, like whatever it was that got you guys together to begin with and get you back to that space. That could be an option. There could just be an option of communicating with each other. And I think you reach in a relationship, I think sometimes you reach a certain point when, and I'm always going to reference us, guys. We've literally been together since teenage years, so it's so easy for us to be able to talk about our personal selves because we've gone through so many different stages of our lives together. But for us, I think when it gets to like a certain point, like for me as a woman, personally, I feel like all the work that we've put in, all the work that I've put in, all the stress, all the everything,
You're
like
gonna kill me.
I
Oh wow, domestic violence. It's again,
no.
we're gonna
But
do a
hear me
segment
out.
domestic
No, hear
violence. We
me
don't
out. Hear me out.
we
Hear me
don't
out.
promote domestic violence.
Yeah, your first instinct when something like that happens is it's over, get out, I'm done, da 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 da. But for me, I had to think like, do I, and not to say like I built you to who you are, but like we've built each other up to like these strong human beings. So like, do we put in all the work that we put in for me to just like let it go for you to now be able to give your full self to somebody else? I feel like that's kind of unfair to me. I do believe though that there has to be trust rebuilt in the relationship, and you guys need to figure out what that looks like, and you have to be mature enough to accept what that looks like, and you guys work together to get there, because there was something underlying, I think, that led that person out the door.
I would say in my conversations with men, right, and whether they're married or in a relationship, and for those men who do cheat, I will say that generally those men have a better relationship. And I'm not talking about a slider. I'm not talking about a slider, Philly term, a slider, a girl that they just go and
I
go.
don't even know what a slider is. It's food to me.
No, not a slider. Like,
What?
all right, so like, it's a Philly term, a slider, a girl that they just go see when they just want to, have sex and keep it pushing. But like, I would say that men genuinely have a friendship relationship with I guess their main side piece, like for the people who have a side piece, right? Like they have that friendship bond that they should have, that I feel like you should have with your spouse. Like they communicate about whatever. They like it just seemed like it's like a peace zone. And what I try to explain to these people is these men is that like home always seems stressful because you have to deal with all of the issues that are home, right?
Sorry.
Like
I literally was like about to
I can
type
tell your
that.
allergies is getting you, ain't they?
It is so sorry, guys.
You have to deal with all of the issues that arise inside of your household, the finances, dealing with your wife's attitude, da 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 da, work, everything. You have to deal with that stuff inside the household. So everything outside looks better, but in the same instance, I think side pieces go to make it be better. Like when you like, it's not stressful, even if they are dealing with certain financial issues or they dealing with child issues, stuff like that. And I've had friends, like I've had communications with people, and they like got full blown, like damn near never relationship, and they hear about all of this stuff, but that woman still makes them feel like, you know what I mean?
Can I speak my piece?
Absolutely.
I'm trying to like keep it here, but let you get your stuff out.
That's
And
why
this is where, as a woman, it bothers me sometimes when I hear that from a man's perspective because just the same as you feel like that's the piece, we as the women don't get the piece. Most times we are the punching bag. We are the person who you complain to. We are the person who has to cook, clean, deal with the kids, and all the stresses within the household, within the families, within everything else. We are the person who, no matter what, if you're upset, you need to talk, you need to vent, you're angry, whether it's me or not, it's getting taken out on me. Like we are literally all of those things, but then you think that your peace comes elsewhere. And I've heard that over the years, and it always bothers me when I hear that because I do get that side, but then there's also that other side, and I feel like every conversation will have, it's always going to be that like ping pong, but like this is one that's really close and dear to my heart because us as women, when we're in a relationship with a man, there is so much that you deal with and so much on our plate. And then on top of all of those things, we're stressed. We hear and we're put on your stress. And then on top of that, still have to be mom, be wife, still cook, still clean, homework, extracurricular activities, fuck on demand. Still be the freaking in bed that you want because then it'll be we're lacking. So now this is why you want to go outdoors, and it's a lot to be a
so you
woman
don't think
sometimes.
you don't think that it's a lot on a man to be
You missed me. I said I completely understand that part, but there's also that other side. But let me wrap it up for you
go ahead, wrap it up.
because my point in all of
Put a
that
condom on
is
it.
I am. My point in saying all of that is
I gotta say
back
pause for that. Pause.
to my main point of every conversation that we'll probably have. This is why communication is key. Because, and I'm just using us, but this is not like real life, but I have all those feelings that I just shared. You have the feelings that you just shared about why this person is that. But if you guys came together to have those conversations and those feelings about each other, I'm sure, hopefully, y'all come up with a solution together to make it work. And I think outside of the infidelity parts of it, but the stress parts of things for us, you know, I took it upon myself to carve out, we do date nights. That's something that is absolutely something that we have to do. Times where we just get away from the kids, whether it's an hour, whether it's two, but I make sure we do date nights. I make sure we take our trips during the year because it is very important because life is always life and for everybody. Everybody's not just at home having this peaceful life 365 days out the year. So you need, whether it be a day trip or a weekend or a little getaway, I think those things are necessary on top of the communication for y'all in your household to still make it work versus seeking it elsewhere.
I agree, and I think that that is like a really strong part of the communication factor on what you said, but it's still like you can literally have that conversation with the side piece, which I'm strongly against men who cheat. Um, I'm strongly against them talking to their side piece about goes on in their home, right? But I have been in conversations where they literally can talk to their side piece and get advice on how to deal with their wife or their girlfriend. What it's like, why is she so open to understanding them and being open to communicate when if I go talk to my wife, this shit is like pulling teeth. So but that doesn't mean that it's is right. And I'm not encouraging it. I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm just saying like there is a difference, a big difference.
So this
And
just
people
makes me
gotta
again go back to something that I used to say before. Every relationship is always or seems perfect in the beginning. And I'm going to put that out there. This person does not live with you. This person does not deal with household issues, family issues, death in families, behavioral issues with your children, the ripping it. This person is literally showing up for that one thing.
what?
So,
Sex?
whatever that one thing may be. It may be, like you said, the friendship. It may be the safe space. It may be the sex. But
If
that's their one and only job for you. So, of course, it is very, and this goes both ways. Don't get, like, please, by all means, don't take what I'm saying as, like, just the man to, like, no. This goes both ways.
no,
But
I
they
created it
have
universally in my mind because I think women do the same thing.
exactly, but they have that one job to withhold. So it is extremely easy for them to look like they're perfect in your
I
eyes.
don't think it's perfection that
No,
men are.
please don't take everything that I say
No,
literally.
I'm
Like I'm just using the term,
I'm not. What I'm
but
trying to go
make
ahead.
them look good. Make them look like they're this person that they could be. But take the time to move in with this person and then let me know how that goes after a couple months.
Yeah, I mean, I get it,
I've
but
witnessed it. We've witnessed it. Literally.
yeah, we
Stuff is always good until it's not because life starts lifing.
that's true, and I'm not taking that away from you. What I think though is what would help is that there is a separation of church and state. And what I mean by separation of church and state is that there is our marriage life, there's our marriage, and there's our, I want to say business and the business of marriage, the kids, the finances, the this, the that. Like, I think there needs to be a strong separation of church and state. Like, everything, once you start intermingling everything, it becomes like, you know, messed up in a sense that people don't really, everything is coming at you on one side that you're not really able to enjoy. Like, it's that day of like, okay, this is marriage day, this is separation of church and state. We're going out to dinner. We're not worried about the kids. We're not checking our phones. We're not talking about finances. We're not. We are literally getting ready to be you my side piece for the day. But as a spouse, wife or husband, you have to also understand that most side pieces, men or women, are they don't. There's no reservation when it comes to another person's spouse. It kind of sounds confusing in a sense, but like a side piece has no reservation about what she or he is willing to do for that person. If it like there's no reservation. It's not we going out in this and it's like literally like a fun time. A lot of that's why like guys will risk going out with their spouse or their side piece or women risk I'm gonna drop the kids off here. Tell mom, tell such and such I was here, and then slide with they slider because they want to go and enjoy that time. They want that fun, that spontaneous, that
People still
heart
have to
rush
live,
stuff.
no matter how serious life is inside the home. You still have to live.
Right? Do you agree with separation of church and state?
Absolutely, and I think we're a good example of that. I think sometimes the two collide. Um,
Yeah, I think so too. I think they
every
definitely
now and
collide.
then, but I think again that's a part of being in a marriage, and I think we've we're working. We're not 100% there, but I think we're actually almost getting there. Where if one of us notice it, we bring it up and we kind of halt what's happening to say, hey, you know,
So give men a tip on how they can tell their spouse what they're into or what they want from them and not have their spouse go crazy.
women are big on security. I think that's the biggest thing. Like like one thing that you do, and people have noticed it from the outside looking in. You always make me feel like whether may be true or not, but you always make me feel secure when we're out and about and we're doing things. You always make me feel like I'm the prettiest girl in the room. No matter who's in the room, you still cater to me, get my door, compliments, things of that nature. I think just always make sure that person is secure and make sure it's a safe space for before you have a discussion. Don't come off of a bad moment to take that moment to do something. I think you need to make sure that there's a safe space between the two of you. And even though I'm a woman, every woman is different. For me, like when we going to sleep, that's kind of like our time, most times where we lay up. And if there's anything on our mind, I think for the most part, that's when we bring it up. And have our discussions. We'll bring up a topic or whatever the discussion is because it's calm, it's soothing, it's mellow, there's no nothing. It's just us there and listening to each other. No noise, no nothing. You just have to know your spouse or your mate. You have to know the safe spaces of conversations and utilize them and just say what you have to say and make sure you're respectful. Make sure that you're catering to the way that they receive information, and go for it. It's the best thing that I can say.
I respect it. It's a sufficient answer.
How about you?
What? So this is for women then, right? I'm giving women a tip on how they can communicate what they want to their spouse. A lot of men are territorial, and a lot of people put that as alpha and all of that. I don't consider being territorial alpha in that sense, but start off with honestly, I think some of the same things that you said apply, like a safe space. Make sure that you can have that communication on a level that they would be more open to understand what you're saying. Really break it down to its lowest form for men. You know what I mean? You got to break it down to its lowest form for men, because most times, most
That's
men
a good
don't
one.
have the. And I, fellas, I'm not dogging us. I'm just saying that most men don't have the emotional intelligence to understand certain things.
Can I add on to what you just said about that?
It's for men.
Yeah,
How you speaking on a man and you ain't a man?
because I know you like the back of my hand. If you let me get it out, you'll
I'm just
understand. It
talking.
makes sense.
I'm just
I
messing with you.
promise. But on top of the emotional intelligence, men need you to get straight to the point. And that's something that I've learned. Long, drawn out, taking the long tunnel road doesn't typically work. Getting straight to the point, and then, like, that was just me adding to what you said about breaking it down, but not giving so much extra to what you're trying to communicate, because then it complicates it for men. I think that's all I wanted to add in there. Sorry.
Yeah, I think it does complicate it, but it's not that it's complicated. I think that men just are most men should be or are solution based. Like if you give me the problem, we discuss the problem or problems, and then we discuss solutions right after that. I think that that's fine. If we have this is my problem because this is going on and because that is that and then this is this and that is that, it's like, okay, so what is your problem? Because you just said what your problem was, but then you added a bunch of stuff behind it. So everything is obviously your problem at this point. So if everything is your problem, I can't fix anything. Well, men that are, I don't want to say alpha, but more dominant men are like solution based.
Cool. I think that was good for this topic.
Great.
Wonderful.
All right. See y'all later.